which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our mission is to prepare and support all students within a culture of excellence to do their best and to be their best, so that each can be a successful, contributing citizen, able to adapt to change and to successfully respond to the future. And we are going to start by doing an introduction. You want to do that?
Sure. So we have a guest here today that I'm excited to present to you. We have Caitlin Brown, who is going before the board today as a nomination for principal of Minot Consolidated School. We had a very good interview process to select her. When we selected her as a candidate, we had teachers, we had support staff, we had board members, and administration on the committee. We went through a round of interviews. We did a site visit, and then we interviewed, do you remember how many people we interviewed? 11 more? 11 people ran, 11 people at the school, and we're able to ask them some specific questions about Caitlin and what she what her leadership style is, and to just give us a little bit more information about some of the things we knew from her interview and her references. We were able to confirm on site with staff. And so, and then Caitlin came and did a site visit at Minot and spent the day at Minot and a little bit of time with the administrative team. So we feel like we are coming full circle here now. We've kind of done this two-way visit, and we wanted the board members to all have a few minutes to meet her before you vote on her nomination for principal. She comes to us from McMahon School, and that's the school, of course, that we visited. And she has been assistant principal there for 2 years, and is I'm trying to remember grade level you taught, Caitlin.
I've taught. I've been in education for 14 years, and I've had a lot of different teaching positions throughout that time. So I've worked with students from K all the way to 8, but most of my classroom time was with first and second graders.
But you also have had some special education experience.
Yeah, so I started off in special ed. That's where I did 4th through 8th grade, was with the special ed population, and then I moved into the classroom, and I eventually ended up doing a couple years as an ELL teacher in Lewiston, and then I moved into a literacy interventionist position as well. So I've had a range of different teaching and actually administrative positions. So I feel that in each of those different positions, I gained more experience and more knowledge and different perspectives, and I'm really able to bring all of those different experiences and perspectives with me to this position. So I'm really excited about it.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody have anything you'd like to ask or know about from Caitlin? One of the things that when our committee was visiting Caitlin's school, a group of them from the teachers and the administrative assistant at Minot got there really early. I don't know what that means, but that was their words. They said, we got here really early before Caitlin knew they were there, but they said as soon as they saw her in the hallway interacting with kids, they knew that she was the candidate that they thought they had seen in the interview, and it just solidified it that she really had that connection with the kids that they were looking for. So I thought that was great feedback. They said it made all the difference just to see her, how that kind of transformed into that practical aspects of what Caitlin would do at the school.
I'm certainly a teacher at heart, but I've come to the realization that I can have a greater impact on a greater number of students in a position where I can support teachers and students and the learning community as a whole in this type of position. So I'm actually really excited to have the opportunity to come and serve my community in this way, and it's such an honor to be able to come and join the team at Minot Consolidated School.
Yeah, I think, do you guys all know that she lives in Minot? So that's one of the things that'll be nice, is that she really knows the community, not just the school. So welcome,
Good.
Caitlin.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And we do have some snacks over on the side if you'd like to enjoy a little while you're here. And I don't know if we want to
Well,
move.
we can probably move forward with our agenda. Is there
That's what I
any
was
questions you have for us, Caitlin?
No, I thank you for letting me come and spend the day. You always worry about leaving a place that you love, but it wasn't long into my day, and I said, I'm going to love it here too. So thank you for letting me have that experience.
And thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
So we will move forward with our agenda. I want to say welcome to Isaac Ouellette, who is our camera operator, and at the same time say thank you to Allison Emery, who was our valedictorian, but did it before Isaac. So we appreciate you being here, Isaac, and thank you to Allison. And first on our agenda is public participation. So I will read our public participation policy, which I do at the beginning of each meeting. Our board meetings are conducted for the purposes of carrying on our official business. The public is cordially invited to attend and participate in board meetings as provided in this policy. The board will provide appropriate opportunities for citizens to express opinions and concerns related to matters under consideration by the board. The intent is to allow a fair and adequate opportunity for the public to be heard and to provide adequate time for the board to obtain information and opinion on subjects before it, while ensuring that the time allowed for public discussion does not interfere with the fulfillment of the scheduled agenda. Members of the public may address the board within the guidelines provided by this policy. Citizens and employees are welcome to participate as provided in this policy. Others may be recognized to speak at the chair's discretion. Individual employees or employee groups will not be permitted to discuss matters for which complaint or grievances procedures are provided. The chair may limit the time allotted for comment on a particular topic as well as the time each individual may speak. During the time set aside for public participation, the chair will be responsible for recognizing all speakers who must identify themselves as they begin talking. All speakers are to address the chair and direct questions or comments to particular board members or the superintendent only with the approval of the chair. Members of the board and superintendent may ask questions of any person who addresses the board. Questions are addressed through the chair. No complaints or allegations will be allowed at board meetings concerning any person employed by the school system or against particular students. Personal matters or complaints concerning students or staff issues will not be considered in a public meeting, but will be referred through the established policies and procedures. The board discourages duplication or repetition of comments to the board. The board requests that groups or organizations be represented by designated spokesperson. The chair has the authority to stop any presentation that violates these guidelines or the privacy rights of others. So we have a group. Is there somebody that would like to come up to speak? We would ask anybody that comes up to speak to come to the microphone that's over there by Missy, over here, and you would need to state your name. So if there's somebody that would like to speak. And we'd ask you to come to the mic only so that anybody listening at home could also hear.
My name is Donald Drake. Obviously, I'm a taxpayer. I'm a parent. I am also a employee of the school district. And conforming to your rules of what you've just stated, so just to bring attention to the school board, many of the teachers, support staff, community members have shared numerous events that they have witnessed concerning our superintendent.
If you have comments that are specifically about a person, this isn't an appropriate
That's why I'm
forum.
not going to any comments.
Okay.
If I can just finish my statement, please. We would appreciate that the opportunity be created to commit a committee to discuss the concerns that we have before any contract renewal or extension is offered to the current superintendent. We request that a closed ballot be set up to ensure that staff can have a voice and vote without threat of reprisals. This is necessary for the school board to have an accurate depiction of how staff feel. We also request that you, the school board chair, exclude yourself in any discussions as staff and community members feel a conflict of interest between you and the superintendent is present.
Okay, good. I need to stop you because it is
Yep.
specifically about Tina, it's specifically about me, and that is not allowed through our policy.
Okay? And that's why I was just stating my statement.
Okay,
We have
thank
things
you.
that we can discuss. That's why we would like to set a committee up. And that's why we'd like you to table any issues that can pertain to her contract at this time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Okay, we will move on with our agenda. Okay,
My name is Mark Chase. I've been asked to represent the transportation and support staff, and basically, it's been covered what we wanted to represent. However, we also wanted to represent at this time that this not be reflected against any other board or school members other than directly at Tina Meserve.
well, we're not going to discuss.
This is not intended for any other members of the school board and the
Well,
administrative staff.
We're not going to discuss something that's directed specifically at one
I
person. If
understand.
you have a statement you'd like to make to the board about transportation, we'd be happy to hear that.
Not just transportation, it's also the other support staff. And unfortunately, some have been stated already, that we are asking for a secret ballot to come up because the reprisals. the
We're not
fear of
gonna-
All right. I just wanted to get it out there.
I would, if you would like to address the transportation,
It's nothing more.
that's later in our agenda.
That's well been discussed already.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
Hi, my name is Erica Douglas. I'm a parent and community member. My question is, if we're not allowed to ask about setting up a committee to investigate the renewal, how would you suggest that they go about it? If we can't come to the school board and ask for you to look at a contract or potential renewal of a contract, how do we do it?
One of our roles is to evaluate the superintendent, and we do that on a yearly basis. We have a process for that. If you're asking us to look at that process, we can look at that process. And
We're
that-
asking
that-
for a committee to look, to hear, I mean, understand in this forum that we can't discuss this publicly, but we're asking for a committee, which would not include yourself or the superintendent, to hear the concerns of the community, is what we're asking
What-
for.
The forum would be through our superintendent evaluation committee, which we form in the winter, and work through it through the spring. And that's the committee that decides where we get our feedback in
And
terms
may I ask what
of
you used-
evaluation.
Where and how did you get your feedback?
We have a very structured process, and we have two different tools that we use to get feedback. And
Which are?
One of them is a rubric that has 5 particular standards on it that are evaluated. The other is called a 360 survey, and it's with administrators, with central office, with the school board.
And I do human resources for a living, so I'm well aware of rubrics as well as the 360 review. How was the 360 review administered, and how is the privacy kept? You're asking the direct subordinates of somebody to give feedback, and my question would be
It's
the
through
privacy.
it's by a board member. Julie was.
How I set it up?
Yep.
I do it through Google Documents, and you can set it up so that it's emailed to whoever does the information, and they have the choice to sign their name or not. And when it shows up in the Google spread, it shows no names, no email addresses, nothing, and it says at the beginning of the questionnaire that it is anonymous and you have the right to add your name or not. So I have no clue who signs it, who fills it out, unless they choose to put their name there.
Also, was there,
The
is there
only
a-
ones that we require names for are our school board. It's our responsibility to evaluate our superintendent, and we feel that our school board should put their name on those. Those are the only ones. All other feedback is anonymous.
is there a reason why teachers were not included in the 360 review?
That hasn't been part of that process. I mean, we have a lot, through our board work, see a lot of what's going on in the schools. We haven't had staff fill them out because our principals are in the schools, and they fill them out.
You can
Our
certainly understand,
administrators.
though, the pressure of a person filling out against their boss. When you have someone a little less down, there's little, I mean, I do this for a living,
Not
so
if it's
we,
anonymous.
Right.
Anonymous, nobody.
understood, but again, I do this for a living, and if somebody were to write something and give a specific example about me, and I were to read it, I would be able to say, oh, I had that issue with Jen. It's got to be Jen. You know, so it's a difficult
Well,
thing that
and-
you're asking
and we-
just principals to do.
And the comments come to the evaluation committee. They don't
Understood, but I also understand that
go directly to anybody that's being
information is
evaluated.
given to the superintendent, so whether they should or should not have been given to her.
Did somebody have something they wanted to add?
So can we find out when your plan is to review the superintendent's contract?
It's the same.
just said it's-
Our schedule is the same. We start working on it in March, February or March, deciding,
Well,
looking
that's
at
not,
our.
I'm asking for a definitive, I mean, you start working on it.
We start working on it in January through March in terms of process. We send it out usually the first week in May to people. We get it back.
To who?
To the-
Whose people?
To the administrators, to central
No, I'm not talking
office
about the
staff.
360. I'm talking about, you just said there was a committee of people. Like,
Yeah.
how would you get on that committee? I'm not a school
Well,
member,
it's,
but I'm a,
it's a committee of school board. And
School
so
board members.
if somebody had feedback, they would need to get it to the school board members, because it's a committee of school board. That's our responsibility by law, is to.
so how does the community get, so we're asking for an opportunity for the community to
We're-
give it to you
we're
guys. But we're asking for an
community
opportunity to do it,
representatives.
because you said we can't do it here. Here's an opportunity to address all the school board members of our
Mm-hmm.
issues. You're not allowing us to do it, so we're asking you for a subcommittee in which we would be able to do this.
Well, we do have some policies. We have the one that's called the Public Concerns and Complaints, which you can read that.
Okay.
And board communications with staff. And we also have one that's called Board Superintendent Relationships, which all have some things. This one on board.
Do you have copies that I'd be able to
Yeah.
take with me and
Well,
publish?
they're all on our website.
I know, it's not that user-friendly to find
These
stuff, so.
You want them? I've got. They are on our website and they're all
No, I'm sure,
public.
no, I'm sure they, it's not, if I just had a copy, it'd be much easier
No,
than
you
trying
can come
to.
get the ones I have.
Okay, awesome. That's all, thank you.
Does anybody else have a comment? And I guess Karen, you have a comment?
I got involved in this. Can you hear me? Hi, I'm
No,
Karen Nichols.
it's just so at home people can hear it. It doesn't help them.
I got involved in this committee. Let me back up. I'm Karen Nichols. I taught in this district for 23 years, been retired for 10, 11, 20, something like that. Okay, I gotta just say that I'm in a difficult place where the people I've worked with are so discouraged. Okay, I know your philosophies, your papers and all this, but I want to know where we can go and do something about this. The morale in this district, now I've attended meetings where it was reported, it's great. I'm in the trenches, guys. And I'll tell you, the morale in this district is not great. When was the last time you talked to a teacher in this district and picked her brain or his brain?
They come to us usually.
They come to you. Good, that's great. When was the last time a minor teacher came to you, Tina, and said, I have some concern? No, they're not going to come to you guys.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the school every day, and half the school, some of the parents, some of the teachers, I would say maybe 3, come and say something, and there are a lot that come to me and say, you know what, we're getting through this, this is good, we're making a difference. So I don't know that it is the whole school. I think it's a handful of people, but I am in that school daily for hours.
Okay. You probably know the difference between the basic personality or whatever of a teacher versus somebody in corporate world. Teachers aren't going to go to the higher-ups and complain. They are so afraid of losing their job. I would state names tonight if it was allowed. I mean, it's a long list. Now, you can hide your head in sand, the mud, or any other material you want to hide it in. But I want to tell you, we have a problem in this district. And we have hurt some people. I mean, we can either be oblivious to this and carry on, or we can look into this and say, what could we do to improve this district?
And Karen, that's a question that we ask all the time. What can we do to improve this district? And
That's what we're here for.
And we have come up with strategic plans. We're reflective as a board. We have goals. We have goals in our buildings that are aligned with the goals that the board has, that the superintendent has, and that our administrators have. So we are certainly not people that have our head in the sand and think that we don't have any issues here. And that's why we have plans that address those and that we have a direction. And if you were to look at our district 5 years ago, there were some major issues in it. We had an interim superintendent who kind of righted the ship. And we feel that our leadership is strong, both in our schools and in our central office, and we feel that we are working on that as a board. And we certainly don't believe that our head's in the sand.
Okay.
We certainly feel like we have a plan and we're moving forward on it.
Mary, in this setting right here, I could agree with you. You guys discuss educational things, you do the budget, you take care of issues. There's a deeper thing here we're not seeing. And it's at this next level down here. Unless they're all lying to me. They are coming to my house complaining about stuff.
We have strong administrators in our building.
I have one other question, and I'll go sit back down. But this was a concern of mine. This is a rumor that 4 years ago, 152 kids entered this school. And Saturday, we graduated 92 of them.
This class has always been tiny. Caleb was a senior. His class was one of the tiniest ones at Elm Street that we had to make into one class.
So there was only like 20 kids in it?
There was probably 24 kids in his class at Elm Street. There's never been. It's always been 2 classes at Elm Street. And I went to Elm Street.
Okay, that was from a couple seniors. They go, we started out with a...
152. Never in any class.
Okay, that was from a kid that graduated.
I
Said,
think 125 has been the most.
okay. And if that's said, if there was 125, I guess I'm just curious why we only graduated 91 to be exact.
On
right?
average, it's 125. This class has always been small. Always. Always. Middle school, 7th, 8th grade, always been small.
Well, I hope our voices don't go unheard. I hope just one of you takes it and says, let's find out more about this. Thank you for your time.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Hi, my name's Deb Libby. I'm here as an observer. And my observation is these folks here are trying in a professional manner to make a connection with you folks. And you guys are digging your heels in and putting up roadblocks every 3 words of the way. And I believe you need to think about what they're trying to talk to you about to grow you guys together as a union, as a community. There's no community connectedness here. You're pulling apart because you're not listening, they're not being heard. So when you walk out of here today, please reconsider how you're approaching these folks. They're adults, they're not kids. They just want to be heard. They're here willing to work out an answer for all of you, for everybody in this room, and the community, and most importantly, the students. I'm not hearing that. You're digging your heels in every inch of the way. So please, step back and listen, and maybe that's why you're not hearing things that are around the school, because you're turning a blind eye to it, maybe a blind ear. So as an observer, I'm just saying I have no connection to this school directly, but I am hearing this isn't working and it's only going to hurt everybody in this room. So let's make this stronger for everyone involved, everyone. Let's get a little committee going here, a little group here. Let them get together and hash out what needs to be hashed out as representatives on a professional manner. And let's get some answers. Let's resolve this. This is the second time we've been here trying to work this out. We're not making any headway. Nobody's making any headway. So please hear that.
I just want to kind of address a few things. As far as digging our heels in, the only thing I've heard tonight is no names, no individual topics. To protect it, this is publicly broadcast. We don't
That's right, and you asked for that.
But hear me out. But that's always been that way.
So take it off this agenda and get a little group of you representatives, them, and let's get together off the camera.
Let me finish, please. Okay. We have had a committee. We will always have committees. But it's also a proactive nature, not just tonight, but continually reaching out for us to inform us. We all have different lives. We're all in the communities. If people aren't communicating to us proactively, we don't know. I can tell you the comments that we've seen, they're not all positive. They're not all negative. There's a balance. And they're not all factual. There's some that are personal.
Then do you want them resolved? You want to set some clarity with it? Then
we're
let's
hearing
do
you,
this.
but just don't put the walls up. We're hearing you, and I hear you, and I will listen, and I will do my best. But I need to be told, not here in a committee about an individual person or an individual event. We need to know this.
But the woman that was in front of you,
yes, ma'am.
First, she asked, "What do we have to do?" And all I kept hearing was roadblocks. May, August, September, next spring, next March.
No, it wasn't a
Let's
roadblock.
do this next week.
Okay.
Next week.
Sure.
It's fresh in our heads. Let's do this. What's the problem? Let's get this resolved.
So, first of all, I want to say that, you know, you all coming here, you are being heard. So I want you to understand that. You also have to understand there's a certain structure and a process of the way things have to run.
Maybe
with
that's
the school
the problem.
board. So what I'm saying is that things are directed to the chair. The chair is expected to respond. So that's what you've
Right.
seen, okay?
And what I'm hearing the chair respond is roadblock, do this, we got to do this, next March.
What I'm saying is, it's a process.
No.
And it's not something that
Then clarify the process.
decisions
so we
can't
can
be
do
made.
this.
Decisions can't be made like right here
No, I'm
in an
not
open
asking
forum.
that. I'm just saying, I don't hear the two sides listening.
We are listening, but decisions can't be made and discussed in an open forum.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So there's a
Okay,
process.
so when they ask what they need to do to make the decisions,
We've heard you.
let's plan that out. I'm not hearing the
And
plan.
also,
Okay, let's do this
Our
then.
discussion is dictated by our policies and our procedures that are set up, and we have to work within those. It's our policies.
I understand that, but let's get some clarification around those policies and procedures, because you're talking in circles with them.
I don't think they're that dumb. I think they understand policies.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't understand the policies.
I received this from, I don't know, if somebody's gonna send the school board a list of, they ought to sign it, not just.
We have 100 signatures plus here for you if you would like them.
Okay, I just want to
Yeah,
say
we're
one
gonna-
thing,
we're-
then
if-
I'll leave.
if this isn't
If
gonna
the
be a civil
policies and the
conversation, we are
procedures
gonna
are
cease it.
effective, you wouldn't have this large group of people sitting here
We're
staring
not going to
at
have
you.
a conversation that's not civil, and that we have people yelling from the back of the room.
That's not me yelling from the back of the room.
Missy, do you have something you'd like to add?
We're just saying this isn't the place for it.
Right.
Because
Right.
we have an agenda, but we all have our email addresses on the website. We all have our phone numbers on the website. Not one person in this room has contacted me at all. I haven't seen
They're
one
concerned
email.
for their jobs.
No, but even the parents or whatever. So I'm just saying, we need to know these things, not right here. I want to know the issues, but it's not at a school board meeting.
Granted,
I would love to hear
granted.
an email, a phone call on the street.
But I'm
at
not
the house.
hearing, let's do, okay,
But that's
here's
where
the
we need
next
to hear.
step.
That's what we need to hear, is outside of this room, by phone call, by email, by on the street, in the hallway, at my house. That's where we need to hear yours.
Hidden away.
Well,
If you're going to
that's-
speak, you need to be recognized.
I just had a question. So what is the Employees Association that sometimes will bring a complaint on behalf of?
That's a grievance in terms of the contract.
Okay,
And, you
so
know, and
it's not anything that's set up to handle something like this for the staff? Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because I thought that.
There's a grievance procedure within their contract.
Okay.
And
So it has
there's
to do with the
also,
contracts and not
within
something outside of the
policy,
contract.
within policy, there's a complaint policy.
Okay.
And those are the avenues that need to be taken if somebody has an issue.
Okay.
Julie?
I believe we gave all of those policies, we just gave them to Erica. So when she asked, how do we do this? We gave them we gave her 4 different avenues on how to do that. So
Just now, though, just now.
she just asked, so
Yeah.
we gave them to her.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a roadblock.
Why
We
weren't they
had-
given that last?
They're
on the
saying
website,
Yeah.
all the policies.
They were
That
just
question
on
to
the
form a
board
committee
and
was
we
never-
handed them to her. They are all on the
Yeah.
website. If the website is difficult to look at or handle, I am more than welcome to go on the website with any one of you to find the policy.
So who would they contact when they go on the website, find the policies, read up on, do their homework? Who can they contact to get this moving?
It says on the
It's
policy.
in the policy.
15 of you? You guys got that? 15 emails?
Okay, we've got a really full agenda.
Okay. Thank you for hearing me out. I just wanted to clarify, trying to make this easier for
Aaron,
everybody.
did you have one more thing you wanted to add?
For clarification too, there have been people, teachers and public that have emailed me privately
Yep.
that their names have never been released to any member of this board.
Good to hear.
And we have addressed those issues. So I want to just clarify that comment earlier about behind closed doors,
Yep.
things swept under the rug. That is not factual.
Okay, good.
I do
Good
not
to hear.
release that confidence. That
Yeah.
was confidential information.
Yeah.
I have addressed it both to Tina, to Mary, to other people in a confidential manner. So please don't make generalizations by anybody saying that that's common, because if it is happening, I'm sorry, but it's
No,
not
I'm
common.
just observing what I'm hearing.
I know, but I encourage anybody, reach out and email us and tell us and sign your
Okay.
name to stuff so we can call you back and get clarification.
Okay.
And then we can handle it.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
Okay. And we're going to move on with our agenda, since it's really full. If you want, we'll get one final person to speak, then we need to move on.
It's Erica Douglas again. I just want to say for the record that I emailed every single one of you that was on this school board, not you, not this year, and not one of you responded to me. Not one. So to say, I asked for response. So the fact that you're saying email you, and I have all my emails, so I would gladly resend them to you, different issue. But the fact that you're asking us to email you, which I have done personally, and not one of you took the time to respond, does not give me the warm feeling that you're listening to us.
I would say if that happened, then, I can apologize for that. I have never personally gotten an email from you.
I never have.
I will forward them all out to you again because I saved them. Every single one of you. It wasn't this past year, this current year, but you all received an email from me. So I will resend them so you can
Please do.
verify.
Okay, we're going to move on. Quickly, please. We've got a very full agenda.
Okay, my name is Jennifer Boyd. I have 3 children at PCS, and I'm also a daycare provider in Poland. So I'm not only here as a parent of my 3 children, but I'm also sitting here for all of my 12 children that I have at my daycare. Morale has gone down in the schools. I don't know what the problem is, but I do know people aren't listening. So I'm just up here and I'm asking you, if I get all of the emails off of your website and I get parents to email you and we hear back or we don't hear back, what is our next step if we don't hear back? Or all these complaints are coming in? Because now you guys are going to get flooded with emails now.
We have a complaint policy. Within that policy, it says that we try to resolve issues at the very lowest level. So if you have an issue with a teacher and you talk to a principal about it, the principal is going to encourage you first to talk to the teacher. If you talk to us about an issue, we might refer it to a principal because it needs to be taken care of at the lowest level. So, but there is an appeal up through. If you have a concern with a teacher that doesn't get addressed, then the principal would address it. And if the principal doesn't address it, then you take it to the superintendent. If the superintendent doesn't address it, then you bring it to the school board. So there's a progression both of how it's dealt with and how it's appealed. And all of that is clear in our policy, but it is definitely our goal, as it is within the teacher contract and the support staff contract, to take care of issues at the lowest level. So when it comes to the school board, it should have gone through all of those levels.
Okay, I've never had a problem with any of the teachers. They are absolutely amazing. They're getting burnt out, they're tired, they have a lot of work. The kids nowadays are not how they used to be. So, but let's just say in general, not if parents have problems with the superintendent of a school, what do? We email you, and then what chain of command goes from there?
If you have an issue with the superintendent, we do the superintendent's evaluation, so it would be a school board that you would chair that way.
Now, what about these?
Right. You should talk to the superintendent about it first, just like if you had an issue with a teacher, we'd encourage you to go to the teacher.
Are we able to set up a meeting?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because there are 100 names that would like to set up a meeting with you.
Yeah. Can I respond? Yeah. One of the things that I think is important for people in this room to know is that we do have a policy, and as the administrative officer of the school district, it's my responsibility to respond to concerns. And there are many people in this room that I have never met before. I have no idea that there's any personal issue with you. So what tends to happen is someone will come to me and they'll say, everybody's unhappy, but you don't have any specific issue yourself. That's not helpful to me. What I need to do is I need to know if there's a staff member that feels like there's been an issue, or a parent that a decision I'm making is directly impacting them. That's what I need to hear about. And it's really problematic when parents or staff members come and say, we're all unhappy, because then I have 10 other staff members come to me and say, that person doesn't speak for me. And I feel like what's happening right now is unprofessional, and it's negative, and it's bad for our district. And so having someone stand before you to say everybody feels this way, or many of us do, is not the way that we can address it. I can't answer to the everybody feels this way when I
don't think I said
no,
that.
But
everybody feels that way. So
we've gotten a staff member here that has said we all feel this way, and then I'm having other staff members contact me with concern about, strong arm and pressure to go along with this when they don't have the personal issues. They're repeating something somebody else has said with misinformation. So, I think certainly in the next few weeks there will be a response from me or the board about the issues that are brought up. And if somebody has a specific complaint that they need to share with me, they need to set up a meeting with me. And it's not fair to sit here, in front of you today when that hasn't happened, especially the parents in this room, because I don't know, the majority of the parents in this room have never shared with me that they have an issue with my work.
I'm at the school all the time, and I've never seen you once in the school. Not once.
Do you follow us on Facebook? Because I'm actually in the. I know that you're not going to see me every time I'm there, but I do try to post on Facebook when I'm there and do pictures, because that's what happens. Is I might be in 3 or 4 rooms, and the rest of the teachers are all in their building, or the parents are in their space, wherever their spaces are. They're not necessarily going to see me, but I'm in the building every month, if not several times in a month. So again, I post for a reason, because I always worry about that people will say I'm not there when I'm at a lot of events.
I also had another question about the surveys that get sent out. Why isn't there any surveys going to the teachers? Or maybe there is, I don't know, but
every year.
How about parents? I've never seen a survey.
Yeah,
so we've
sent one every year.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone out this year, but it will soon. This is always the time of year, and then we look at it in September, and we use that to help us set our goals for the year.
Okay.
Huh.
Thank you.
All right.
So
Thank you.
we need to move on with, Karen, we need to move on with our agenda.
Can I please speak, Karen? I need to know the chain of command I'll know who to approach.
You need to, if you have an issue with superintendent, you need to start with the superintendent.
I did.
Just like if
I had a problem with snow days.
Excuse
Today I told
me.
my son it was 89 degrees at PCS. Tina, you told me. By the way, this is Caitlin Ross, and you know me. I've seen you run the Whittier 5K. We've discussed outside of my house. So you're saying you don't know any of the parents in this room?
No.
It's not what
you should know.
That's not what she said.
No. But you did say that it's 70 degrees at PCS. That was an issue I did email you about, and you emailed me back. I can show it to you. That it's only 70 degrees in June, and you didn't want to bring it to the board, how we can make up days or even discuss any options.
It did.
Yeah. Excuse me, we're going to move on with our agenda.
Anyway, I pulled him today
We're
because you
moving on
don't
with our
learn in 90
agenda.
degrees.
Without any school days, they would have been in school today.
Going to start.
Karen, there are committee meetings that
Yes, there's all kinds of meetings. You guys seem
We're moving on with our agenda. We have a full agenda. Recognitions and acknowledgements. We have some people that are working hard, and we want to recognize that. We want to say best wishes and thank you to Kim Spencer for her service to RSU 16. We want to say congratulations to Kayla Olson, who was the Optimist Club Student of the Month and who is an adult education student. We want to congratulate Poland Regional High School for their participation in the Coaches for Cancer program. They raised over $1,200 for the American Cancer Society, and they presented a check at one of our games. Want to say congratulations to Jordan Katala and to Dakota Balker as Scholar Leader Award winners from Bruce M. Whittier. We want to say congratulations to Sidrid Sibley, who is an all-state chorus. We want to say thank you to Carrie Med and the Poland Regional High School staff, and Jenny Rose and the adult ed staff for well-planned and successful graduation ceremonies. We'd like to say congratulations to Rick Kramer, who is a Poland Regional High School teacher, for his selection as a teacher leader by the Maine Health Education Education Cadre, and this is a program supported by the Maine Department of Education. We'd also like to say congratulations and appreciation to Bruce M. Whittier Middle School for receiving grant funding from Building Assets and Reducing Risk program. And that curriculum and training is valued at $50,000. And next year, Poland Regional High School will, in the following year, Poland Regional High School will follow through on that program. So congratulations to them. And Julie, do you have another thing to add?
I would just like to say something about Kim Spencer.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Sure.
It has been an interesting 3 years having Kim here. Is she even here?
Yes.
Hi, Mrs. Spencer. And this past year has been a really tough year for Kim, and she, I feel, has gone above and beyond to try to make a difference in the school by setting up sit and chat, to open herself up to conversations to parents and anyone else in the school to help start communication, set up question and comment boxes so that people, if they didn't feel comfortable talking face to face, put it out there so that she was open to hearing what people had to say. I feel like she's really put a lot of heart and sweat into trying to make Minot the school that it's supposed to be, and I think she will be missed.
Thank
so
you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. And as we look at our agenda adjustments, as you can see, we have a full agenda, and we have a committee meeting on the 26th, of which we may need to, which we will need to restructure, and that will meet at 6 o'clock because we'll need to certify the results of tomorrow's referendum. So you'll see that there were some things originally on this agenda that we are going to move to that agenda so we can get through this one tonight. So where initially you saw approve the strategic plan, section E, we'll do that at our June 26th meeting. And we'll also, you'll see at the end of it, we have some executive sessions at the end of this meeting. The only one that we will be voting on is the superintendent's. The other one will be discussion ones. And so some of those adjustments have already been made in the second thing that Lauren...
Mary, the 26th, that's not going to be a workshop at the union office, or we're going to have a whole meeting here?
We're going to meet at Elm Street in the conference room where we usually do our committee meetings.
Yeah.
But it'll start at 6, and then when we've finished with that part, we will have some committee meetings. How did you think that would be structured?
So what we were thinking, and again, we'll wait to see what the agenda items are, but what we're thinking is we'll have the full board meeting. It might take a half an hour, and do the few agenda items that we don't get to tonight, and then have the 3 committees go on simultaneously. So I might, you know, oversee the finance, Amy the education, and John the operations committee. And so we'll split into our groups and just all have to go to the one that we're assigned to and get those agendas done. And it will also allow us to have everybody there at the same time without pulling you in and out over the course of a 3-hour period.
Okay, and so we now have we have 2 presentations. Carrie's going to do one for us. Remember, we did a student survey, and she's going to share those results with us.
Great. So, you guys did a draft survey. The leadership team took it and sort of just finalized it. And I know, Jordan, did you work with Ms. Hediger a little bit? You guys wanted to make sure, or somebody who, to make sure we asked about lunch and stuff like that so some of this I think you will recognize it.
Or they gave us some ideas.
There we go. I knew you'd talk to somebody.
Run with it, yeah.
So I'm just going to give you the results real quick up here. It's pretty short and sweet. We had 332 responses, so we felt pretty good that that was a decent number, right, of kids. And you can see the spread. The smallest group's the 12th graders, so that's okay. And then evenly divided between 9, 10, 11. So this was probably, I want to say, maybe a month ago that we did this. So the first set of questions around the academic program, and we asked kids to rate everything on a 1 through 4, so 1 is not great and 4 is super awesome. So when we asked them to rate the overall quality of their education, you can see that 65% of the kids gave it a 3, 15% of the kids gave it a 4. So vast majority are in the 3 and the 4. So we were pretty heartened to see that. And then we asked them about the variety of electives. So it's still a majority of 3 and 4, more bubble up on the 2 that they'd like to see a greater variety. We have added tons of technology classes in the last couple of years, particularly around the computer science. AP computer science was added last year. So we still, you know, the size of the school is eventually going to make it hard to offer more. French is coming back though. Yay! We had great sign-ups for French, by the way. Super excited.
Really? My daughter was thrilled.
Oh, yes, totally anonymous, same as you in Google. Yeah, anonymous survey. Do you remember taking it, Jordan? Yeah. Okay, good. Good answer.
But that was not an anonymous answer.
She's the
Well,
one
she
with
took
the
it.
one.
She's in there in the pile.
It could be all the one.
Hard to know. So overall experience in roundtable, I will say teachers were most, and the leadership team were most nervous about this question. They put so much time and energy in a roundtable, and they're always nervous that kids don't see it as valuable. So wow, were we excited about those responses, to have that huge number of kids saying that overall roundtable has been a good experience for them. So that was really, really good for us to know. My roundtable teacher knows me, so not at all to really, really well. So again, really good that we're seeing such a huge number on the 3 and the 4 side. That was, again, very heartening to us. So that's just sort of general academic questions. Then we moved on to student services. So these are all things that are guidance, nurse, social work, those kinds of things. So we asked, I know how to ask for help in the school if I have a personal problem. So big numbers of kids know that, which is really, really helpful. We still have a decent number who don't think that they know that, so we always have more outreach to do. I'd like to see no ones. That would be the goal, but 32 kids said they don't know. So, so we still have some work to do there. So I meet with my school counselor regularly. So my guess is the seniors and juniors are a higher number. The freshmen are probably a huge part of the number 1. This mirrors the survey we did a couple years ago for our accreditation, where the numbers for kids meeting with their school counselor regularly were not high. So we keep looking at this, but my guess is if we broke it down by grade level, it would be higher towards the upper grades and lower towards the lower grades. But it's obviously a number that we got to keep working on. I think what happens is sometimes roundtable deals with a lot of low-level stuff and then bumps it to counselors when things get a little bit more complicated.
Carrie, what kind of numbers do our counselors have for like a caseload? How many students do
they really good numbers, because we have 3 counselors for the school, which is above what we technically should have. So I want to say it's 470 divided by 3.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you say counselor, do you mean guidance?
Guidance counselor, yeah, but they get called school counselors now. It's hard to remember, but that's who they are.
What are the social workers called?
Social workers. They didn't have a name change. So just more information for us to look at about that. I know that counselors right now are madly meeting with every single junior. Every junior gets a meeting for sure. Have you already had yours, Jordan? Yeah, to look at, make sure they're on track to graduate, make sure their schedule for next year has them meeting the graduation requirements, make sure they start making a plan, and then they do all those meetings with seniors as well. So those are definitely the larger group of kids. I'm comfortable going to the guidance counselor, so that has trended in the right direction. So while a lot of them are saying they don't meet regularly, far more of them say that they're comfortable going. So I think that's good. And then we have general, all these people that kids can access. So we said, how often do you access any of these? So this is the nurse, Pat and Jen are 2 social workers, Mr. Williams, and then the guidance counselors. Very few kids are doing daily, but we have a pretty good chunk of kids who are monthly and weekly. That's monthly and weekly are orange and red. So about a third of the kids are daily, weekly, monthly. And then it's once in a while and never. And so then how helpful do you find these services? Blue is very, very helpful. Red is helpful. So that's beyond 50% are saying that if we include somewhat helpful, then that's more than 3/4 of the kids saying that it's somewhat helpful or very helpful. So we felt really good about that as well. And then the purple were the ones, I don't use them, which, great. We should have kids who don't need a lot of help, right? We should have kids that just do school and don't need support to get through it. So that's okay. All right, so we asked about food service. You'll be shocked to know that the kids are not satisfied. I think that's really, that's a headline right there. How would you rate the quality of the food?
Can we send that to Washington?
How would you rate the variety of food choices? 1s and 2s.
Again, can we send that?
How would you rate the price? Shocking 1s and 2s. So I let
How would you rate the price? You don't
John
pay for
know.
it, do you?
Yeah, if they went to Subway every day, they'd be paying a lot more. So I let John know, though, I'll share these results. I think without more questions and getting to the heart of what it is, I'm not sure how helpful this is. I predicted all those answers, all of us did. So I think there's room for us to really think about, or for food service to think about what could be helpful. And then the serving size was the last question. Yeah. So you'd be surprised to know that kids were not happy with the serving size either. So yeah. So I don't know. So all those rules will be gone very, very soon anyway. So I hear they're picking away at them in Washington. So all right. So for athletics, we ask questions about athletics, but we only ask questions for kids who played a sport this year, right? So it jumped them. If they said no, then it jumped them to the next set of questions. So we're not going to ask all the kids about their sport activities because they didn't do it. So what you can see is 52% of the kids said, "Yep, I played a sport this year." So how do you rate the variety of choices? Yay, 3 and 4, that's great. That's better than some of the ones that were up at the top around their education piece. The quality of coaching. This is, as you know, this is my favorite topic at these meetings. We've had a really good year. I think kids had really good experiences. Some years are going to be worse than others just depending on what the openings are and what the hiring looks like, right? But from these numbers, I think we can say that the kids have had a really good year with some really good adults in their lives, and Dawn and I were really, really excited to see that. Facilities, again, great, right? So, you know, we're not in Cumberland County, and I think the kids recognize that, but they recognize also that Tony and his crew work really hard. Don does a lot of manual labor out there as well to make things as good as we can with the budget that we have. So the kids seem to be appreciative. Rating the overall experience, I mean, that is 17 kids weren't happy. And then 91 plus 65. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm not sure you can get to 0 at a 1, right? There's always going to be some kids who struggle for a variety of reasons. So we felt really good about that. I think this is a good question to ask each year. We probably could guess if the numbers are going to slide based on different seasons, but we feel really good about that. Next one is around co-curriculars, so not sports but clubs. And as you can see, 68% of kids participated in a co-curricular. Now they may be the same kids who did sports, right? If they did one of each, then they got both parts of the survey. So of those kids, how would you rate the overall variety of choices? Again, overwhelmingly positive. How well organized? This one's one that we were worried about, but we're like, all right, looks like maybe there's 1 or 2 that are a little not quite as organized as they should be, but the vast majority of them are well organized. The kids are doing all right. And rating the overall experience, very similar to the athletic one, a very small number of kids. 5 kids were saying it was terrible. 27 kids said, yeah, it could have been better, wasn't terrible, and then the vast majority were really, really happy with it. So we were excited about that as well. And then the last one is around technology use. We're not sure how useful this is. I think that you guys wanted to get some feedback, so we just asked the kids what do they use their iPad for, and they checked off everything that applied. So for a lot of kids, I mean, there's some obvious winners there. Turning in work, creating and, I can't remember what the whole thing is, like creating and sharing projects and things like that, writing, obviously, and researching, I think, was another big one in there. Researching is 302. So we just had kids check from a list of all the things that they could be doing. And then we asked them on a typical day, I use my iPad for academic reasons in. Blue is all of my classes, red is most of my classes. And then yellow is a few of my classes. So that green, none of my classes, is a really small number of kids. I know some kids who just didn't pick up an iPad this year. They had a bill, they couldn't deal with it, and they figured out how to work around it. And we respected their choice, and they didn't use it as an excuse. So some of that is a personal choice on their end, but we felt pretty good about that. I think it'll be interesting to see what it looks like next year when we've got the Chromebooks. So it'll be a good compare and contrast. And then in a typical week, I use my iPad at home to complete schoolwork. So green's a little bit bigger, hardly ever, never, but still pretty, every day is blue, so that's a pretty big group. Red is most days, yellow is a few days, and that's in a typical week, so still feel pretty good about that. So that is it. So I think we've got an opportunity to sort of keep track of this over time, use the same questions. We can always add to it as long as we keep the ones that we've asked this year to give you guys a sense of how we're doing.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Jordan, for helping us. Your ideas were what you saw up there, so thanks for helping us with that.
Were you surprised by any of that? No? No.
She knows.
It's okay if you were. It's all right. You can say what you want.
Are we gonna get copies of it?
Sure. I am struggling to figure out how to print it. I don't. Google changed their thing, and
If you drill down on the electronic version, will it break it down by grades?
I'd have to go through the spreadsheet. So Karen Hill, I bet, can do that. I'll give that to her as a summer project.
Okay.
She loves that kind of stuff. I'm telling you.
It'd be good to.
Yeah, so I'll give her the spreadsheet and have her just see if she can group it by grade level. It's a good idea.
Oh.
Okay?
Thank you for doing that.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. It's been one of our goals for a while, so it'll give us a good baseline. And Linda and Amy, you're going to introduce the new technology plan, which was in our packet.
Short and sweet.
I just want to thank Carol.
Good girl.
These are wonderful.
Her smile. I know. That was funny. It shows her character.
It does.
It's like her party. I know. It's just like Carol. Yes, it's unlocked, I believe.
So Linda and I are here to talk to you about the technology plan. So Linda came to me a few months ago and said, hey, our technology plan has run out, and actually we had a year extension, and it's a lot of curriculum based, so I need your help. So Linda?
So historically, the technology plan has been a requirement to receive federal E-rate monies. That requirement has been taken away, so you don't need it anymore. Just last Thursday, the Maine Tech Directors Association had a meeting with the DOE, so this is new news that Amy doesn't even know yet.
There's no surprises.
The DOE is actually considering really changing this whole process because, as she said, the technology plan isn't really a technology plan. It is how's technology utilized to support curriculum. Whereas it used to be, how many computers do you have? What's the bandwidth of your network? All this, how many printers? It was really like a hardware list. And that's not the case at all anymore. And a couple of us raised the issue with the DOE that if we have a comprehensive strategic plan in place that covers all of this, why do we have to create yet another separate plan? And they actually agreed. So there may come a point where, as long as all of those things are covered in the strategic plan, that we don't have to do this process anymore. But Amy was awesome because she knows the curriculum, so we gathered some teachers and community members and parents and worked on this plan, spent a day working on this plan.
So I'd actually like to just take you through some of it because it is a labor of love. It does look pretty thick, but we'll hit some highlights for you because there's some survey data in there. So if you could pull out your technology plan, it will be school board approved later on in our agenda, but I will be short and sweet. So on page 2 will be where we start. As Linda said, we use the strategic plan to formulate our plan, our vision of our whole technology plan. So the bullets under Share 2, Shared Vision of Learning, align goals and budget to enhance all schools' technology according to the technology plan, invest in resources that improve the RSU's ability to communicate and train staff and students to use technology as a tool of teaching, learning, and communication, are right from our strategic plan, so that's what we use to build our technology plan. If you look down to the bottom of page 2, those 6 bullets that are there, our big goal is that we want to prepare students for their future. And our classrooms and teachers need to be equipped to support students in learning to address these bullet points here, their learning styles, their individual learning rates, being cooperative and collaborative, all of those pieces to participate and communicate globally, and to improve student achievement. The next piece, flips, is on page 3. And we're on page 3, the first sentence under planning professional learning opportunities. And that says staff will receive training and ongoing support to expand their knowledge, skill, and confidence in using technology in teaching and learning, with focus on improving student learning rather than how to use the technology. Do we still have teachers that need to learn how to use the technology? Absolutely. We're not going to leave them behind, but really the focus becomes on how does this improve student learning through the use of our technology. It's one thing just to have typing as that piece, but then how do we envision really our kids using technology in new and different ways to really bring our curriculum to life? Our next piece is on page 4. Again, stop me if I'm going too fast or not fast enough. Is our overall district score. It's Bright Bites data, and the state paid for teachers and students in grades 7 through 12 to take this really nice survey. We felt as though we didn't pay for it for pre-K through 6, but we created our own Google survey with the same exact questions to give to our pre-K through 6 teachers. So their data is not included in our plan. We have their separate survey data that is taken into consideration when we created the full plan. So our overall score is, there's 5 categories there at the beginning where it says K-Score Legend, and our district 7 through 12 scored an advanced. That's only second to being exemplary. And if you look at the graphic there, the first one is classroom. We scored proficient in that category. Access, we scored exemplary. Thank you, Linda and her team. And then skills and environment are advanced. So on page 4, if you kind of skip down to where it's bulleted, where it says communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, those, again, reiterate the whole process that we want to make sure that we're learning to use technology and incorporating them about students creating and constructing with technology, not just doing typing or doing researching, but actually doing all of their learning with technology. And our other second area to highlight is under environment is professional learning, and we'll get into some of our goals in just a minute. So if you're going to start flipping now, you're gonna want to stop and look at the Bright Bites data because it's pretty and there's nice graphs and bar graphs. But the technology team, it's there for you, and if you have any questions, we can go over that. But the technology team spent the whole entire day, and we analyzed, synthesized, and summarized all of those beautiful graphics for you. So I'm going to ask you just to not look at those and move right all the way to page 9 and hit some of the major highlights there. So going along with even what Carrie was saying is on page 9, the implications. So both students and teachers report almost daily the use of computers in their classrooms. So we've got 89% of students reporting that and 78% of teachers. And then we also have some pieces there of students and teachers agree that they're never asked to create animations, demonstrations, models, or simulations. So those are types of projects that we really want to start thinking about adding into our curriculum because those really give us a fun way for kids to engage in their learning. And then towards the bottom there, you can start seeing this is where our charts come in, and this is where the technology team helped us to develop our intervention and our next steps based upon the data that came before that. What do we do next with our technology? So on the bottom of page 9, you can see that there's 2 pieces there. The interventions and next step include updating our digital citizenship. It needs to happen. We have some lessons that we've been using for several years now. We need to review them, tweak them, and then implement them. And then coach teachers to develop learning projects that are higher on the SAMR level. And SAMR is, if you're interested in that, it's there's a little bullet next to it, and on page 10 it explains the SAMR levels of using technology in the classroom. All right, next piece. Don't look at the survey data because it's all summarized on page 13. This is for leadership, for learning through technology. So 74% of our students and 98% of our teachers agree or strongly agree that the school encourages technology for teaching and learning. And then another highlight of our data is 87% of our teachers want to learn more about effective technology use for teaching and learning. So that's a key point. If you don't remember anything tonight, remember that 87% of our teachers at 7 through 12 want to learn more about how to effectively use technology for teaching and learning. And it's the same number at the elementary level. 89% want to learn how to use technology better. And then 70% of our students believe technology use in class can enhance learning. So those are some of our key parts here. If you scan to page 14, the last row there and the last column, so provide teachers opportunities to learn more about using technology tied to the curriculum. You'll see in that last box there, way over to the right, it says RSU 16 Technology Integrator. So I'm just going to plant the seed now, and in the next budget cycle, you probably will see the need for a technology integrator. We're working on a job description and working on what would that person be doing. But if we have 87% of our staff at the middle school and 89% of our staff at the elementary school want to learn more about that, well, who's going to help them do that? Linda and I are going to do that with our technology team. But again, it's sustaining that and making sure our kids have access to the best teaching and learning possible.
We had that once before.
I was going to say, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. We had 2. Yeah, we actually had 2.
Well, I think the technology integrator job description has evolved
Yeah.
since we've had ours. Because one of the big parts is you used to drop your kids off at the technology, and teachers would have a planning time, where now it's not that. It's the teachers and the students learning together with a technology integrator. So.
We did it when.
Right, and I think when it was new, I think teachers weren't really sure how to use
Yeah.
it. I think teachers are in a whole different place right now. I think they would have a good sense of how to use a technology integrator.
Yeah. Our next page is 17. And this is our professional learning. This is one of the areas where we scored low as a district. So really looking at our professional development, and if you look at the second intervention step down, is offering PD learning opportunities for our teachers. And if you go all the way over to the right, where it says we'll have 25% of district PD, so there'll be some technology focus. Doesn't necessarily mean we're teaching something new to staff, but it could be that we're simply modeling how to use this app or use this website with your class. As we use it with adults, you can also transfer and use it with students. So that is a number that we're going to be looking to use in our district PD days, is 25%. Page 18, I'll just say the technology integrators there again, the last box. 21%, sorry, page 21, our learning-focused areas. And our district teachers believe that internet access at home, 96% of our students have access to the internet and wireless at home. So that's really great for small communities such as Poland, Minot, and Mechanic Falls, and that provides them an opportunity to show their parents what they're learning at school. On to page 22.
Quick question, how was the data gathered, actually? I'm just curious, like, how do we know it was 90% of the students?
The survey, through the survey.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go back, as I keep telling you not to look, but it does show you all these pieces here.
Okay.
The students had to answer very specific questions.
What was your response rate?
I don't have that with me, but it was pretty good. It met, so Bright Bites, this company the state contracted with, they set a minimum bar in order for the data to be considered
statistically relevant. Yeah.
And we did meet that for both the middle school and the high school.
I have the numbers in my bag.
Yeah, I'm just curious between the teachers and the students, like your return rate, just to see what that
They took it during
represents.
roundtable, so it's easier to capture kids during roundtable and sit on them to make them fill it out. The other just thing to point out on page 22 in the table is you'll see interventions and next steps, replace existing technology in grades 3 through 6. And then it says replace existing technology in grades K through 3. Why is grade 3 on there twice? Should be a question that you're asking. Well, grade 3 is at the start of our MEA testing years, so students need access to laptops. But they're also our youngest learners in that spectrum of just coming off of their K2 experience, so they're used to the iPad experience. So we really want to make sure that we still capitalize on their use and love of iPads to help out their learning, but also start getting them ready for their testing as well as the rest of their career, being able to use a laptop in the correct way for their teaching and learning. And then technology integrator again there on the last box. And that is kind of our plan in a nutshell. There's other pieces there, but if you've had time to read or if you want to look at it more, you can let Linda and I know if you have any questions or concerns. And again, we'll be looking through the pre-K through 6 technology data. We haven't had a chance to dive into that yet, but it's here and it's ready for us to do.
And I guess I'd just add that even though the state may do away with the technology plan requirement, I think that we got a lot of valuable information from doing that Bright Bites survey. It told us a lot about how things were happening in the classroom.
And our team of teachers, too, if you go to the front page, is a cross-section of everyone. So you've got our district gifted and talented high school teachers working with middle school teachers who have one-on-one technology, to our elementary teachers, as well as a parent who's on the committee. So it was a great committee. We did a combination of all together, separate, and then separate into with one group with Linda, one group with myself, and then we even did small groups where Linda and I oversaw 2 small groups. So it was a good work day. A lot accomplished.
So was this drafted in one single day, or do you guys have? It sounds like there's a lot of work involved in this.
Well, Linda and I took some pieces and did like sort of the bones of it, and then when we got people together, because we really wanted to make an efficient use of time, so like being able to drop in the screenshots of the percentages and being able to highlight some of those. And then the teachers really filled in like why. Why do we think that we have this high percentage or this low percentage, and helped us to fill it in. And that made it for an efficient day. So we were able to accomplish it in a day with the group. And there were some finishing touches that Linda and I met on and put into place, but we were able to crank it out.
Thank you for all the hard work, because
Thank you.
especially regardless whether the state requires it or not, with the strategic planning that we do and the visioning going forward, it's definitely necessary, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
So
doing
we
that.
hope you'll
and thank
approve
your
it.
team. And that's later in the agenda. We'll take a vote on that. So we need to act on the minutes of 5/8/17.
So moved to accept.
We have a motion, a second from Lisa. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Anyone opposed?
Oh, wait, I
Or
wasn't here.
Or an abstention?
Abstention. Abstaining.
Okay, we have 2 abstentions. That's Julie and Len. We're going to move on to acceptance of the financial statement, and Stacy's on vacation, so Tina's going to kind
Move to
of...
accept. Second.
Okay, and a second. So we have a motion and a second. Do you want to...
I just had a couple of
Walk us
real,
through some
yeah, I
facts.
just had a few short things to point out to you. Our lines are looking very good for having carryover for next year and future years, which is great. That is for a couple of reasons. We had big savings in fuel. So our fuel lines, if you looked at the fuel lines in every school and also in our transportation, we had a lot of leftover money there. Salaries, we also had leftover money in our salary lines. I mean, they're somewhere, they're in the red, and some that we have additional money. And that's because we had 6 retirees and the new hires came in lower. You never quite know, but you assume that's going to happen. You leave the money in so you can hire experienced people if you get them. They came in pretty significantly lower. And then also we had several unfilled positions. So those unfilled positions also bolstered the salary carryover money. And the other thing that I wanted to point out is, I wasn't sure if you noticed that, but the sublines for special ed show 0 budgeted and then the actual spent. If you remember, we had left the special ed sub money out last year, and so that's why you see the 0, and it looks like, oh my goodness, how come we have $22,000 in sub costs for special education, or whatever the number is. So that's the only other thing. Those transfers were made since the last budget to actual. And that's the only thing I had on that.
Quick question on the fuel costs on our budget for next year. Do we have the same number for this year that we budgeted for next year, or do we drop that down
Yes.
to reflect it? All right.
Yeah, quite significantly. And I think in the bus fuel, we left it about $1 above what is actual now for the increases, because you need some buffer because it's so unpredictable. But we didn't feel like, we have 2 or 3 years of data that we went to look at, how much we thought would be adequate with then a little bit of buffer. And then the only other thing that I wanted to point out was, and I don't know if this goes to the food service, I don't know if it actually shows how to show it to you on there, but Stacy gave me a little cheat sheet to share with you that I thought you would be really pleased to hear. At this point, year to date, we are in the black, $30,953 for food service.
Good job, John.
They've done an amazing job. And that's just to remind you that we were $155,000 in the hole. And so a profit of $30,000 takes us down to $124,000 in the hole. And of course, that's from past cost. But we've done that by restructuring the staff and personnel, got Ellen on board, and John has worked really hard with that full department for over a year now to bring this into check, and also with getting some of the menus lined up with costs and the collections. So when you consider all of that work, we are really pleased with where we are at this point of the year.
I think that's the first time in the history of...
Yes.
I mean, I can remember 15 years ago we used to argue about...
Yeah.
Because I paid ahead this time.
$30,000.
So that's all Julie right there.
So that's it. That's it for the financials.
Is there any correlation with the rating for a 1 on the food quality and the profit?
I'm pretty sure we would be saying the same thing in the past. Again, we're following the guidelines, but
Michelle guidelines we're following.
yeah.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any more discussion on the financial statement? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's unanimous. And we have no old business. We have a long list of new business. And there's a stapled packet in the envelope that we received. And the first ones are teacher nominations, I think, so.
Do those in the cluster, or
um,
you want to do them individually?
That's up
I
to
remember
you.
how we've done that in the past.
I think we,
Yeah, that's what
I think
thought
we've done
too.
them in a cluster, yes. So we'll start with teacher nominations then, or do you want to start with the case? All right, go ahead.
Why are some italicized?
Those were add-ons since your original agenda, so we just wanted you to see that I've been interviewing, pretty much every day the last few weeks, and so anyone that's italicized is something that's been added in to your original.
Okay, so there's no information on those folks?
Yeah, they should be,
Or
Lauren.
is it additional?
Yeah, Lauren would have given you additional information, I believe, attached to your
It's
agenda.
attached to the agenda.
Oh.
Yeah, she's always on it.
Yes.
Does a good job for us.
Okay, got it. I see, thank you.
So,
One question.
Yes.
Do we ever require, like, our employees to live close to the locations? Because I see a lot of addresses that seem like summertime driving,
yeah.
spring driving might not be a problem, but December and January might be an issue. Do we ever put that requirement on, or does it matter?
So we have some, it's certainly their decision to drive or not. We do have, I know one of the teachers, and I can't remember which one, is moving here.
Yeah.
Actually, we have two that are moving to the area. One's moving from
somewhere
up near
Orono.
Orono.
Yeah.
Their family's relocating, and another one is moving from Jay to Poland.
Okay, that was
So they're both-
actually the one I was
yeah,
questioning.
they're both moving to the area and making a change, and that's why they are looking for a job.
Yeah, gotcha.
I have a question. If someone has applied for a position and knows they didn't get it, does that mean someone else has been hired?
Say that again. So if they know they didn't get a job and somebody else has been hired,
Has someone else been hired, or they've
been notified?
Sometimes, yeah, if they've been notified, it's either there's somebody been hired or it's going to be reopened.
Okay.
And so sometimes they might still be on the table, but they feel like there's, they don't have all of the criteria that they were looking for, so they're seeing, they're reopening to see if more candidates come in. And other times it's just they're looking for another candidate, or it could be that someone's been hired and we're waiting to go through the process, or finishing the process. Could be that reference checks are still being done, or things like that, and so it's not been announced yet. So you'd have to ask me in private.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so likely if they know someone's been hired or we're reopening.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to go through and present each of those names, or have somebody for your teacher nominations, or do you want to say anything about each one, or?
Sure. So we have a half-time world language teacher, and that is a candidate that is already in our school. Carrie has been performed a miracle for us.
Thank you, I did.
Yeah, she has.
Every day, but man, when it happens, it's exciting.
She noticed that the person's minor was in French when she was in college. The person didn't, that we didn't have a French position, didn't plan on applying, and Carrie went to her and said, "You have a French minor."
Being a French teacher? And she said, "No, but I think I'd love to."
Yes.
Like, that's what I think too.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. It'll be a half-time position, and of course, once you get a half-time in, that will have to grow to full-time in the future, because you offer French 1, then you have to offer the more advanced courses. So
a good place to start for us. We're really excited about it.
Good.
We have 4th grade Ashley Richards from Elm Street School, and Ryan.
Ryan's
Ryan's beside me. Sorry, Ryan. I'm like, where are the principals? Ryan, she's the one that's coming from Old Town, isn't she? So we are very excited. I remember Ryan telling me that the principal's reference said, this is the kind of teacher you never want to leave and have to give a reference for. So we're very excited. We have 1st grade at PCS in Donnell, Sherman, Bryant, and Rick has, where's Rick? Yeah, Rick? I'm trying to remember.
Donnell.
Yes, Donnell.
Yes, Donnell Bryant. She's in J right now.
Oh, that's J.
She'll be coming to join us. She's everything you want in a 1st grade teacher. She's excited and motivated. She loves school. She loves being there every day. She's going to be perfect for our kids. So we're really excited to have her coming to join us. And she's already registered a couple boys.
A schoolboy and a high school boy want to play football. We met them. They look like really nice boys. So.
Good.
And, so we're really excited. We've had a strong candidate pool so far. We have a math and science teacher for Bruce Whittier Middle School. Same thing. Meet them and just has the credentials that we're looking for. Sean, do you want to add anything about your science teacher?
No, we just found that she had a personality that matched us really, really well. So we're really excited about her. Even though she's a new teacher, but I think she has a lot to offer. So I'm really excited to get her on board. She's coming to parent night tomorrow night to meet our 6th grade parents.
And this is Sarah Henderson. And I would agree, it's pretty much when you meet somebody in there, right away I was like, you are going to fit in really well at Bruce Whittier. She has that whole child perspective, which is really important for our middle school children.
So if we could have a motion
I'll make a motion, we approve the, go ahead.
What's your motion to approve these teacher nominations?
4 nominations presented by the superintendent.
And that was seconded by Julie. Is there any further discussion or questions? All those in favor? Is there anyone opposed? So that's unanimous. And we can move on to our principal nomination.
So I've talked a little bit about Caitlin already, so I won't do more of that. But Caitlin is coming to us with experience as assistant principal, and we're really excited to have her joining the school. That's the vote of the board. So I think we'll put her.
Do we have a nomination?
Make a motion to nominate and approve Caitlin Brown.
Okay.
Julie.
A second. MCS principal.
And Julie seconded that, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, or you have any questions for Caitlin?
I love the fact she's from Minot.
I know, isn't that awesome? She knows the community.
So, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's unanimous. Welcome, Caitlin.
Very excited.
And we have.
You won't thank us a year from now.
Yes, she will.
I'm tougher than that.
And to approve our school nurse, you want to talk a little bit about that? And
we have Melanie Judd coming before you for our school nurse for Bruce Whittier, and also PRHS, replacing Carol Brucker, who we did our retirement celebration for her today. And Melanie is going to be new to school level nursing, but she's got lots of other experiences. And we'll have support and be a great team with Melanie Whited. We won't have any trouble remembering the Melanies for our nurses.
Where
So
is she?
it's
She's
great.
coming in front? I don't see her.
She's not here today.
Oh, you said she's coming in front of us?
Oh, well,
I had to-
symbolically, I guess.
had to, yeah.
okay, so do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
From Lisa and a second
Sorry.
from Jack. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion?
Why?
No discussion? All those in favor? So that's unanimous. And now we need to look at some bids. So John looks like he's ready to help us through that.
Spend the money.
Well,
And-
contingent on tomorrow.
We will probably need to do them separately.
Yeah.
So the first one is a roof bid.
This is the roof replacement on the modular section at Elm Street. We sent out 7 invitations to bid. We got returns back on 2 of them. One for Twin Construction, $36,580, and the other for Royal Roofing, $37,500. It's my recommendation that we award the bid to Twin Construction for $36,580.
We have a motion. Motion by Ed and a second by Steve. Is there any questions for John? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's unanimous, so we can move on to the chimney replacement bid.
This is to replace 2 chimneys, 1 concrete block and 1 brick at Elm Street School. We sent out 6 invitations. We had 1 returned for $14,160. So it's my recommendation that we award the bid to Fecto Masonry for $14,160.
I make a motion that we do that.
Motion and a second by Norm. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any questions for John?
Replace the whole chimneys?
Well, this was from the roof up. They won't, none of these guys would consider quoting for the anything below that because they won't know until they take down to that section. So generally, chimneys are protected from the weather from the roof down, so usually the replacement isn't required, but we won't know that for sure.
So what happens if they rip the top off and they find out it's all rotten?
It could, yeah, but that's why we have contingency in our CIP budget to deal with something like
They're
this.
charging us $14,000 to do from the roof up on 2 chimneys.
Correct.
How big of chimneys are these things?
Real big.
Yeah. Well, actually, the brick one at Elm Street School is almost as tall as the interior. When you drive by, it's the one you can see from the road. The other's the block, and the exposed portion is not quite as much as the one below. But you just never know.
Normally, if a chimney's going to give out, it's within 2 feet of the roof line anyway.
Yeah.
I assume that's happening this summer, this stuff? Or?
Contingent on budget approval. But in this case, the chimneys are priority, so even if the budget doesn't get approved, this would move very high up on the priority list for CIP projects.
Fecto's done a lot of work for us, too.
Any more questions? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's unanimous. So we'll move on to central office exterior painting.
We sent out 6 invitations to bid. 1 was returned from American Dreams Painting for $4,200. So it's my recommendation that the bid be awarded to American Dreams Painting for $4,200.
So moved.
Second.
And a second from Norm. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Seeing none. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's unanimous. And then in our updated packet tonight, there was the financing bid for the printers and the copiers.
John, do you want me to do that, or are you doing that one?
I can take it if you want me to.
Excellent.
Stacy, who probably would have covered this tonight if she'd been here, sent out invitations to bid on the financing of 2 of our technology projects for this summer. The first is on the replacement photocopiers and printers district-wide. The total cost for the equipment is $117,347. Androscoggin Bank came in with the lowest interest rate of 2.69. So we're looking at an annual payment amount of $40,158.48 over the next 3 years. The only other institute to quoted price was Gorham, and their interest rate was higher. So, of course, our recommendation is to do the financing with Androscoggin Bank for the copiers and printers.
We have a motion first, and then we'll take...
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second from Julie? So
Question.
Motion and a second, Steve.
This is for the financing. Did we send the bid out for the equipment itself?
We did that through an RFP
Yes.
process earlier in the school year. We actually took pricing from, there were 7 different companies. It wasn't a formal bid process because there was no way to really compare apples to apples with competitors. So with the RFP process, it kind of allows us some flexibility for the vendors to propose the best option that they believe for us.
With these, I understand was it like a whole bunch of us went out to bid to these vendors? I mean, more than one school district, or this was on our own?
This
No, no,
one-
no, the copiers and
This was
printers,
for
we did
ourselves.
on our own.
Yes.
Yep.
And this is the one that we saved like $19,000.
We will,
right?
yes.
Not $19,000 over what our current bid is. I mean, our current cost.
Do we buy them or just rent them?
No, we will end, at the end of the lease period of 3 years, we will own the equipment.
If you look down the purchase option, it says $1 at the end of the lease term. to
So
own them.
what we have now, what are we gonna do with them?
The dealer that we're doing business with will take them and junk them. Yeah. Yeah, this, we haven't done this in over 5 years.
I know, years ago, we had fought for days on printers and copiers and contracts and.
It was a tedious process.
Linda and John put in, or was it Stacy? Linda, right?
Linda and I worked on
Linda and
this.
John put a lot of time into reviewing the RFP.
I mean, we ended up, I think years ago, we ended up suing some company over all that mess.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Who was our vendor that we went with for the
Yeah. Aaron's-
or the copiers?
The one we're going to do business with,
Yeah.
A Copy.
That's on here.
copy.
Yes, out of Portland.
Okay,
Just a
and
question.
Aaron's got a question.
We got all this technology and we got all this like iPads and Chromebooks and everything. Do we need photocopiers?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
realistically, would it be cheaper just to buy ink and print remotely from this stuff? Because I don't have a photocopier at home, but I mean, I don't understand.
Photocopies are a lot cheaper than the printers.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
so much cheaper.
We're actually reducing the number of printers that we're going to have district-wide, and we're promoting that the new equipment will have air print, so to speak, so that, the technology will print to the copiers.
But there's no chance of us going like paperless anytime soon and being able to eliminate some of these, like
Yeah, that would be-
140,000?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I agree. You know, one of the things that happens is even when we already have students using like e-backpack and things, submitting their work to teachers and teachers making the comments back. We are certainly not in a place where we're
We can do it, yeah.
paperless, but it is a goal that work is submitted via technology whenever possible.
Okay.
Fine, Aaron, when you start going towards paperless technology, then you gotta have storage and backup of that storage, and you find out it doesn't become
Right,
as
it's not
cheap
that
as you think
much
it's
cost.
gonna be.
Yeah.
You may not know this number, so it's okay if you don't, but I'm just wondering what that represents, like print, how many printers, how many copiers?
I have it.
Well, okay.
Your call's very important. I'll be with you.
Play the elevator music.
And because of the, while John's getting that, because of the expense, if you notice on the second page, it requires us to have opinion of legal if they're over, oh, this isn't the one that's over 100,000, is it? Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Over 100, so you have to get the approval, and then you get the opinion of the, of council, yes.
So we went with Gorham or Androscoggin?
We sued one company.
Andrew Scoggin.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that because it was the copier bid, it wasn't the financing bid.
Do you even know ballpark? No, that's all right.
It represents like 25 photocopiers, decent. I
And
want to
this is all
The other one's for
district-wide,
technology.
Yeah.
computers.
But the number of printers,
This is for
I'm not
printers.
sure.
That's
I
the
don't- I
next
don't dare
one.
to guess.
Gotcha.
Between 1 and 100.
It's not more than 100.
Okay.
There you go.
It is more than one.
Nice job.
Okay, so
Thank you.
we have a motion.
Attaboy, John.
And a second. Are there any more questions for John? And this is for the photocopiers and for the printers.
Right.
Is there, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, so that was unanimous. Now we need to look at the one from Warren Savings Bank, which is the computers, correct?
Right, this is all the new computer technology that's being purchased this year. Again, both Androscoggin and Gorham bid on the process, but Gorham came in with a lower interest rate of 2.85%. So we're recommending that we go with Gorham for the financing of the computer technology.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I don't see.
Just
Right.
probably in
Right
the
after.
original packet.
Yeah.
That one's with the job, the new hire.
So this is for
The Chromebooks, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions? Julie had a question. This is for the Chromebook.
Julie's making another
What
motion.
grades? This is
Yeah, it's her turn.
This will be high school.
Just high school?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Right.
So we have a motion
Yeah.
and a second. Any other questions? Or John, anything you want to?
Melissa?
This is just for the high school, right? Because
Right.
middle school already has.
Yes, this is for the high school.
And we're utilizing all the current computers and everything that we currently have for the younger grades, right?
The
We're not-
iPads
Yeah, I
will
remember
be-
years ago, we talked about selling them off or things like
Yeah.
that. That's not happening. We're utilizing them.
Yes.
I
don't
can't
think-
buy an
thank
iPad.
you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That was unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. There we go. All right.
You didn't get one?
Okay, and so our next one is to endorse the Maine School Board Association letter supporting local control. If you look at, there was a letter in our packet. It was sent to us by the Maine School Board Association, which is the association of which we are members, asking us to review that and to endorse the contents. I'll talk a little bit about what's in that. It's an open letter to oppose the governor's plan to cut funding for system administration. The governor's proposal eliminates all state funding for system administration, of which we have talked about, and the challenges that that was during the budget process and will continue to be. And talks about the important partnership between school boards and superintendents. And then on the back side of it, it addresses local control, and that it's really about local control. Maine is a local control state, and that it's their opinion that we should have local school boards with a local superintendent, where the governor's plan is more a regional plan than a local plan. So that's sort of the highlights of that letter, and it's our choice whether we endorse the letter. What we're saying is that we agree with the gist of the letter, important points. So, what's your pleasure?
Make a
Ed?
motion to endorse the letter from the Maine School Board Association.
We have a second for that, and a second from Len. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? So that's unanimous. So now we can approve the technology plan that Amy and Linda just talked to us about.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All right, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? So that's unanimous. And always, this is the time of year where we have in the past authorized the superintendent to hire teachers and administrators over the summer if the need be. That means if we're not getting together soon, we don't want to lose candidates because it's awaiting our approval. So we have chosen to do that in the past. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second? Second from Jack.
Julie, you gotta speak up.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions?
Do we ratify the decision in the fall, or is that, it just is what
You
it
want
is?
to talk about it?
Yeah, what happened last year, which, when we say the summer, what I try to do is if we have a meeting in August, if somebody's coming before me in August and it's within a week of the board meeting, I wait and put it through. If I need to get them to make sure we don't lose them, then I do it. And then for the September meeting, from then on, it's back to the usual process for the board. And typically, the hiring is done, and you hope the hiring's done in September, so that it's not usually a problem, unless there's some, like, staff aren't supposed to resign in August. So typically, you're okay, but
And it
sometimes.
sounds like many of our positions have been filled.
Yes, we're doing a great job on our hiring.
Great candidates, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? So that's unanimous. All right, we need to set up our meeting dates for school board and subcommittee. And Tina and I looked at the calendar, and we have, in the summer, usually had our committee meeting in July and then our regular meeting in August so that we could take care of some of those cleanup things before school starts. So looking at the date, we were thinking of July 31st for our committee meetings. If that doesn't work, we could go back to the 24th for committee meetings. It's
Me neither. The 31st is good.
Yeah, that's what we were
31st?
thinking, right?
All right, so July 31st then?
That's a committee, right?
Yeah, committee. And then August 14th was the suggested date.
I won't be there for that one.
How about,
Can I go back to subcommittee really quickly?
Yep.
At Elm Street School?
we usually meet in the, when we have our
So it will be at Elm
workshops.
Street?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, August 14th, I have a work function all day. I may or may not make it.
Okay.
Wedding anniversary.
Is there anybody
yes.
else in there that can't?
Those
Is
are
there
priority.
Anybody?
Can everybody else make it?
Can everybody else make August 14th?
For regular school board meetings?
Yes.
Good, okay. Let's go with August 14th. I don't know that we need to have an official vote on that. We just wanted to make sure that we
Most
had
could come,
established
yeah.
those dates and that most
That's
people
our
could
regular
come.
school board meeting, Mary.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's
Yep.
here?
Yep.
Well, we're assuming
We are
a
hoping
few
we
times
can.
we've had issues where
Doing work.
Wasn't
the
ready.
technology was being, you know, inventoried or whatever, but if we can't, we'll make sure an announcement is made so you all know where we're meeting.
Okay, and so we have no policies. We had some administrative reports. Did anybody have any questions or comments regarding those? There were a few things that I pulled out that we recognized at the beginning. Okay, so we can move on to the report of the student representative.
Graduation was this weekend last year.
Yes, and you had some beautiful purple hair. Love your braids.
And then last week, the girls lacrosse team won their first game in 2 years.
Oh,
Good.
good.
Underclassmen awards are Wednesday night, so like teachers give out awards to underclassmen. Yeah, all right. Finals are coming up soon, like this week and next week. Today we had AP meetings, so whoever signed up met with their teacher and got like summer work and stuff. There are 5 people accepted into the Bates Early Scholars Program, which is more than normal. Usually it's like 2 or 3 people, so.
Can you tell us, what is that? Is it just taking courses at Bates? Is that what it is?
So you have, like most colleges, you can just sign up to take them, but Bates, you had to apply. So you sent like your resume and a cover letter. So then we just recently heard back, and the 5 people got accepted. So in August, I think you can sign up for classes, and then so you can take 1 class each semester at Bates.
Great.
Is that only senior?
I think anyone can apply. Like, so you can take your junior or senior graduate, I think. And then recently, people were, like, class officers were elected for SRP.
Now, you're going to be our senior representative next year. Now, when do we select your junior representative?
I think we talk about that in September, October, when we come back. I think it's the second, SRB meeting that we have, we talk about that.
Whoever it is, you'll be a good mentor to them because you've been really great this year, so we appreciate that. Okay, we don't have any subcommittee reports. John did have in there our last building committee meeting, so you might want to just skim through that, but those meetings are in there.
I noticed in the minutes there, it says smaller footprint on the building. What was the change that caused it to go from?
Well, significantly smaller footprint
Yeah.
on the building. We still have the 6 classrooms.
Okay.
And the shared entrance.
And the shared entrance. We do not have the additional science labs that we had originally put in. And we had a lobby area, a hangout area, that is now much smaller. But we do have a small area for students who, you know, are kind of gathering with friends. I'm trying to think, what else, John? What else was taken out?
Well, all the classrooms were going to remain.
Yeah.
But we.
Some of the smaller spaces
are still in there.
Did you mention the 2 science labs got taken out?
Yeah, so we still have what we currently have, but we had additional larger spaces, and those are removed. And so it's what we felt like with this, we have all the essentials that we needed.
It still contains some restructuring of the high school administrative office. So the last plan that they brought back to us when we asked them to go back and look at it again didn't really serve the administrative office experiences that we needed. So this does. I think everybody felt that this was a scale down, but it would meet the needs of administration, students.
Yeah, supervision, you know, the supervision and the eyes on the students as they come in from the administrative offices. So yeah, everybody gets inside. That's our big deal. Do we have all of the students inside one site with a single entrance in?
Secure.
And
Secure.
our nurse more accessible to
nurse and co-curricular
to middle school kids
are in the middle, so because they service both sides.
Right. I'm just concerned about the concept of losing 2 science classrooms in order just to get the combined entrance.
Well, that basically it wasn't to get the combined entrance. I think we lost it to get the even with, I mean, we could still have the 2 science classes with the combined entrance. It just made the footprint larger and the cost.
Okay.
So we tried to get it down to the rooms we need and make sure we got all of those essentials of the safety and the security that we wanted.
Right, and the 2 priorities that the committee had identified was the security and bringing the kids inside. So it takes care of the 2 priorities that we've tried to focus on throughout.
And 5.7 million is probably going to be a lot easier for our communities to absorb than what the original cost was. So
we're not meeting again till September, and so during the summer, we're going to do some work to refine that. So by the fall, we're really ready to get out and share that. And
actually, we are meeting. John, I don't think I ever told you this. John was out at the last meeting. His father passed last week, and he was with his family. The committee wanted to meet in August.
Yeah, I thought we were August.
So I will let you know that date. I don't have it in front of me, but we are meeting in August. They thought it was really important for us to keep the momentum going to build toward the referendum, and they wanted to be part of the outreach, like the planning for the community and how we can make sure our communities are really well informed by the November referendum. So when we heard their interest and desire to meet, we took advantage of it. So we have an August end of September meeting already scheduled.
And a report of the board chair. I would just say, remember that you need to vote tomorrow.
Yes, please. And bring 5 friends with you, or 10.
And we still have 2 board openings since Annette has resigned, but she did notify the Minot Selectmen, so we're hoping that there will be an appointment there, and there's still
Can we write you in again?
a Poland seat.
I'm still on.
And Poland needs to have that seat open for 30 days and sort of advertised for 30 days. So they've done that, and they will appoint in July, they said, and we're very happy that Melanie has expressed an interest in that, so that's what we're hoping.
Wait, what were you just talking about? But the selectmen does the appointed, right?
Yes.
I was told the other day it was school board makes their it says, no, it's not that way, it's all up to the select.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, they're in
I
control.
was right again.
Yeah,
If
they're in
someone
control of that
resides during their
process.
tenure,
Yeah.
then the school board,
Julie?
I mean, the selectmen.
Did you say someone was chosen for Minot?
No.
Okay.
No, Annette has resigned, and they're aware of it, and hopefully they will appoint someone soon.
But there's like 3 people who turned in papers?
I don't know, that would, we haven't heard. That would be great if
I
there's
was
that
told
kind of
there was,
interest, so.
like 2 or 3 people who,
Excellent.
I don't know if it's true.
I can call.
I'll call it, it would be great.
I heard there was a millionaire.
So, in the
Maybe
summer,
true.
we have worked on our board goals so that when we have that August meeting, we can address our goals. So if I could have a couple people that are willing to work with me maybe sometime in July. Last time, Jack and Tina did it. I don't know what Jack and Tina are doing
They're
in
looking the other
July, but, or if there's someone else.
Sure.
All right, sure, good. Is there anybody else that would like to join us in July? Aaron?
If you need to.
We do,
Yeah.
and Aaron also, good.
Good job.
Thanks.
You got that in writing, didn't you? That's what I thought you did.
I got nothing else.
No, I know you don't. And you notice we had a newsletter in our packet, which talked about agenda construction. And I thought I'd just, we'll take a minute and talk to you about, to remind you how our agendas are created. If anybody has suggestions, they get them to me before the meeting. Tina and I meet the Monday before, as our newsletter suggests we should. I always look at last year's to see what was on the agenda last year. I look at the last regular meeting to see what was on it. We look at our committee meetings to see what needs follow-up. Tina always brings any operations or building things that or school level things. We review any issues that come up and make some preparations to address them, take any suggestions from the board. So that's kind of how our agendas are created. And that's sort of what they're suggesting we do.
So does that mean, for everyone that's already left, that we would take what they said and bring it up as an agenda item next meeting?
Not necessarily. I mean, we would decide where we're going to. It might not be the next meeting. It might be in, sometimes things will come up and we'll decide that it needs to start at a committee meeting. Or sometimes it's something that needs to come straight to the board. So those are some of the things that we think about when we're trying to figure out what our agenda is.
So hopefully they went home and watched and know how
Hopefully.
we might do that.
Well, and even for all of you to go home and read those 3 policies about the procedural piece, because there's so many policies, it's easy to forget when somebody calls you that there is even a policy on certain topics. So
Can you tell us the names of them again?
Yes, I can. We have BHC.
What was that?
BHC. And that's Board Communications with Staff. And then we have BDD. DD. That is Board Superintendent Relationship. That also does a little bit about the complaint process. And then Policy KE. And I would be happy to, I mean, I have these downloaded from just getting them myself today, if you want me to send them to the board.
And what's the KE?
KE is called Public Concerns and Complaints.
I think it would be good for us to go on the website and find it ourselves, so that if somebody has difficulty, we're able
Yeah,
to
that's
go to
been,
them,
I mean,
rather
Tina
than
and
it
I
just being sent to
pulled
us.
them up
It's good for
today.
us to
Some
know
of
the
them are under
protocol,
the board
too.
governance one, right?
Yes, some of them are under.
Some are under staff.
Yes. The K is the staff.
Right.
And the B are the board governance. Because they call them, each has a book, and that's set up. You know, we don't set the books up, they're kind of written that way. at the state level. But that's where those 3 policies are. It was really helpful when we were doing our work to look back and go, what is our policy say about how we're supposed to respond?
And again, these policies are set at a state level?
No, the policies are our policies we adopt. We get them from the state
Okay,
lawyers.
that's where I
Yes.
was a little confused
Yeah.
about what you just said. Okay.
What happens is, Maine School Board Association has sample
Recommends.
policies that have been vetted by lawyers, and most school boards use those policies
Mm-hmm.
because that's, their standard protocol. But sometimes we will actually take one and add in a few things that are specific to our district, and we can change them or write our own if we chose to.
And if somebody, a person, not a board member, wanted to see a policy changed, they would just come up and say, I would like to see this policy changed. We would then discuss it and then bring it up at another point.
And usually the
Probably.
policy ones start at the committee level. Yeah, we have had some policies that, people have made suggestions for additions to.
So if we get an email that says, I don't like this policy,
Yeah.
then
Or you
I
can,
would
yeah,
just.
you could send it to me, and when Mary and I meet, I have like a running list of like committees, and policies are usually, if, we have them like.
Usually the educational policy.
Yeah, the educational policy, and we have like a rotation, unless one is needed, then we bump it to the top. And it's pretty easy pretty much every meeting, we try to have a couple of policies so that they're, constantly being reviewed and updated.
I just want to make sure I'm
So,
prepared.
report of the superintendent.
All right, let's see. Go back to my list, don't have too much. Maine School Management Association letter of support for superintendents. So the Superintendents Association sent the same kind of format. I don't think I need to talk to you about it. It's basically the same information that is in yours, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, and the minutes of the budget meeting have been completed. They're ready to be posted. I guess you guys don't have to vote on those because it wasn't, do you guys have to vote on the budget, the minutes to the budget meeting?
I don't believe so.
No.
We
Yeah,
never
so
have,
those-
it's
right,
just
that's what I'm saying.
informational.
Yeah, and those are ready to be posted if they're not already there. We've already talked about the subcommittee meetings in June 26th, so again, you'll get an update on that, but we are planning to start that, the regular board meeting at 6, so we can sign the warrants, and then we will.
We have some other items that we took off this one. We took off the strategic plan, the governance section of that, so we'll have that. And we also, we're going to do the administrative contracts then, rather than to try to squeeze that into tonight.
We had so many executive sessions that we weren't quite ready for all of them.
Do you want to know if people can't attend, because I won't be able to be there?
On
Just
the-
so,
For on the
because we're
26th.
gonna sign it.
Yes.
And Melanie will.
And Melanie, everybody.
26, it may, I don't know yet.
Okay.
Just so you know.
It's,
So Melanie,
It's looking like a no
Tina,
yet.
and Aaron.
Maybe.
yeah.
Aaron's a maybe.
As far as signing the warrants, is there another time that we can do that, or is it even necessary if you have a
It has to be
quorum?
at a meeting.
As
Okay.
long as we've got a
Okay.
quorum,
Yeah,
I think we're
it'll be
fine.
like a regular meeting, so I think we're okay with.
Because last year, we did go back and check and see if it had to be a meeting, and it said it needed to be a meeting.
Thank you.
Not a oopsie.
Okay, and then, new hires, you can see we have Deborah Peters for a bus driver, we have Shannon Briner for our JV soccer coach, we have Logan Landry for cross-country, assistant cross-country coach, Kayla Royer for our varsity field hockey coach, and Mara, I already asked how to say this name, Balboni, for our JV field hockey coach. So excited to have all of them on board, and early, before the fall season starts. We have Carol Brocker retirement, you know that, we've talked already. We have Catherine Payton, the teacher at Adult Ed, who is resigning, and for those of you who know Kate, that's going to be a huge loss for the Adult Ed program. They, every year when they do the Adult Ed graduation, the kids give a rose to somebody who's made a difference in their life, and Kate gets quite a few of those every year. So it's going to be sad to have her leave. And then Karenina Plant is moving north, from what I understand, with her family, so she has resigned, and she also will be a loss at Bruce Whittier. Mary's already talked about the handout, so that's it for me.
So we have some executive sessions of which we will have to go into and then come out. So do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
And that would be to enter into executive